Welcome back, listeners. I'm Jay, and today we'll be diving back into the awful and wonderful world of Batman White Knight. Today's episode in the series will be pretty different from the last two. Not really an essay, and more me rambling on about vague predictions and prophecies. You know how it is. But you may be asking what these predictions are about. The answer to that is a bit more complicated than you might assume. Let's get into it, shall we? So, during my making of the last essay, which you should totally check out, I did another read-through of Curse of the White Knight, Beyond, and Generation Joker, and while I was doing this, I started to notice a bit of a pattern, and as humans do, I started to pick up a few ideas of what could be coming next from White Knight, and particularly the character of Jackie Napier. Now, by no means is this going to be my detailed play-by-play of exactly what's coming in, say, World's Finest, but there's definitely a few plot points I can imagine are possibly, or dare I say probably, coming in the future. But I think before we can say that, I should probably extrapolate a bit more on what exactly the pattern I've noticed is. I tend to believe the best place to start is in the beginning, so I think we'll start there, in Curse of the White Knight. Is this the beginning of the Elseworld? No, but sue me, I don't want to be here all day, but just most of it. I do have a life. Sometimes. Okay, I'm getting off topic. Apologies. But that proper start that's actually important is in Curse of the White Knight, issue number 3. Here, Harley is very pregnant with the twins by this point, and she goes with Bruce to try and get through the Joker to Jack, and in this reveals to Joker that she's having Jack's kids. And in a line of dialogue that shows the Joker clearly knows nothing about biology, he says that one of the twins has got to be his and the other one Jack's. Now, at the time, this didn't mean anything, but I would love to dive into how this affected Harley's parenting of Jackie, but that's probably not a topic for today. But trust me, it will be. The rest of Curse is generally without consequence for our topic, so I'll move on. Picking back up in White Knight Presents Harley Quinn, my old friend, we have an offhand comment from Harley while introducing a then 2-year-old Jackie that calls her a screaming monster in comparison to Bryce, the quiet one. This is what I'd mark as the proper start of a quickly growing pattern. While it starts off small here, I'd call it a snowball into something far greater and something far more important. And beyond the White Knight, things start to move on a lot faster. Our first stop is in issue 1 with a panel I touched on in much greater length back in my first essay, but I am always glad to revisit. I'd call it infamous if anyone else cared. This, of course, is the panel with Jackie's Joker shadow. This panel, while it can mean a lot of things, it also paints Jackie as someone quite notable. A villain. This isn't the only such case, however. Literally, in the panel after, Jackie compares herself to the Joker. Beyond doesn't have as much as you would think, but compared to some of the other books, it does have a decent amount that points us in the right direction. Joker is way more packed than Beyond, despite being a lot shorter. We'll start at issue 1 again here. Here, Jack mentions that once he was just like Jackie, back before he became the Joker. Put a pin in this panel. It'll be one to come back to. Following that, literally a page later, Harley tells Bruce that it was only a matter of time and Jackie is just like her father. And she says Bruce needs to trust her on how bad it is, which, come on Harley, be so for real, stop pushing your Joker-sized insecurities onto your daughter. But also, this tells us that it's assumed that she's going to turn out like Jack did. Still in issue 1, Jack's recorded message to Harley and includes him mentioning the path Jackie's going on is his path. The rest of the issues don't really have much else. While it might not have as much as you were expecting, I think it was still pretty substantial considering how much time we've spent with the characters and how often this is, to the point where it's been in every single book that they've been in. But I promise this was all for a reason. You're probably still wondering what the pattern I've been talking about for the past while actually is and what my assumed endpoint for it is. So, to keep this simple, I'd like to call this my exploration of Jackie Napier's impending villain arc. So, based on what a lot of people online and hell, characters in universe have been saying, I doubt I've been the first person to notice the pattern good old Sean Murphy has been establishing, but I'd place a bet that I'm the first one to analyze it to this degree. Blame the hyperfixation. Now, call me dramatic, but to quote award-winning film Nimona, once everyone sees you's a villain, that's what you are. They only see you one way, no matter how hard you try. That's Jackie. She's been seen as bad or misbehaving from the very start, from when she was a little kid, as far as we can see back in this panel from Presents Harley Quinn. I'd even believe it started earlier, and this is why I brought up Curse of the White Knight panel. The sort of belief that one of them was going to be evil like the Joker had been going since the beginning. From a meta standpoint, there's a lot of cues, from the design decision to make her not only dress like the Joker, but when drawn by Murphy, her face looks like his too. Then there's her actions and the way she's characterized to be this rebellious kid setting herself up as a villain because that's the way everyone has treated her entire life. Everyone sees her as a ticking time bomb before she becomes just as bad or worse than Jack was as the Joker. It's almost what everyone expects from her at this point. So, now that I've kind of got my mini analysis and background out of the way, I think I should probably get to the point already. If you can't tell already, the big thing I can see coming is probably pretty obvious. I'd say there's about a 90% chance that within the next few Murphyverse books, we'll be getting the meat of a villain arc for Jackie. If by the conclusion of the Murphyverse she still hasn't, then I will make a 6-hour detailed summary of the Murphyverse, separate from the however long one I'll be making in a few months. But who knows? Never me, at least. But I know this is probably in the works. Murphy, Collins, and McCormack wouldn't be setting up this many signs for a simple red herring, but if it is a red herring, then I'm placing my bets on red and saying it'll be Bryce. But someone is getting a villain arc. I don't even doubt it. God, there is something wrong with me. I am literally the only person who cares, and this could have been a Tumblr post. But it isn't. Yes, this is a shameless plug. Go follow me on Tumblr at Burrito Witch. Back on topic, Jay. I can't be the only one seeing this. It has to be intentional. I don't see how any of it could be an accident. But I will say now, I don't think just because she's going down a clear dark path, she'll necessarily be another Joker. She will most definitely be some kind of sympathetic villain. I don't think we would have had all this time to see her as more than just the Joker's punk daughter if the plan was to make her a cold-hearted villain all along. And based on the Murphy & Co. trend, I doubt they would even want to. Both Riot and hell, Starlet had motivations that made you feel a little bit bad for them. But with a character that one of the writers has likened to one of her babies, I'd even more severely doubt she'd be completely unsympathetic. She won't be someone to hate. Jackie will be someone to feel bad for and to be able to see where she's coming from. She's been treated like a villain for her entire life, when she's done essentially nothing wrong. This would be her finally living up to the expectations everyone has had for her for the past 12 years. She'll be a villain, but ultimately a character you still root for regardless. In short, I am already preparing my speech for being her #1 apologist. The pipeline of, oh, this character in this comic book I just picked up for the first time is cool. If anyone says she's cringe, I will fight to the death. My ramblings off, I'd place my bets on us getting a bit more traction in World's Finest, but not getting anything that could probably be called a villain arc for another few books. But when it comes, I will be the first to tell you that I told you so back in March of 2K24. But that's just a theory. Oh wait, night theory. God, ignore me. Or until next time, listeners. Hey listeners, thank you for watching today's video, and if you liked it, please drop a like down below, and please subscribe if you want to see more from me, and hit that notification bell to be notified when I post. And if you have anything to say, please leave it in the comment down below. Or you can always send me an ask over on my Tumblr, which I mentioned earlier, but I'll mention again for good measure. And as always, I'd like to say thank you to my friend for providing the stills, but as you can probably see, I have new and updated ones now. That's pretty cool, so check him out if you have the time. And I guess that's all to say, so like, subscribe, and comment down below, and goodbye, listeners. Until next time.